Hello.
Avadhut
Anybody
Maharaj,
home? Yes.
Avadhut. We meet today our 35 devotees with us. Happy to see you, Maharaj.
Okay, wonderful. Dandavad Pranam. I'm very happy to see everybody here today, this morning. So normally we have endless monologue of Swami, which is kind of good. But today, if anybody have any questions, which we should discuss this morning, specifically about Krishna consciousness, Srila Govinda Maharaj used to say, you can ask any questions. He was very firm in his mind that every question can be lead to Krishna consciousness. Oh, Chintaman is driving. Okay, here we are. So any questions or comments or any topics we should discuss?
Yes, Maharaj, we have a question from Nandarani from Kursk. She asking, what means jive, doya, and vaishnava, seva?
That's a very good question. So jive, doya, namaruchi, vaishnava, seva. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was asked, what is Krishna consciousness? He said first, Sadhusangi Namakirtan Bhagavad Shravan, Archaya Musi Sevas Nama Sankirtan. Sadhusanga, in association of devotees, Bhagavad Shravan, to hear Bhagavad, to hear topics about Supreme Lord, and to worship the Murti of the Lord, and to be engaged in Nam Sankirtan. Nam Sankirtan means, congregational chanting of holy name. But somebody can say, well, that's extraordinary conditions. You need to have a Vaishnava community. You need to be part of, temple, the worship of the deity. And that's what our gurus like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur try to establish. The Gaudiya Math means Chaitanya Saraswati Math or ISKCON, place where the worship of the deity is going on, and where constantly the glorification of Supreme Lord and congregational chanting. So that's why when we come to Kirtan, that's what we expect. Worship, prasadam, Bhagavad Shravan, discussion, spiritual discussions. And this is the ideal place for the centers. But then someone said, well, that's amazing, but what about common people? They may not have a temple, they may not have a Murti deity, they may not have, opportunity to chant together. What they will do? And Mahaprabhu said in a very short way and more condensed principle, jive, doya, nama, ruchi, vaishnava, sivam. Jive, doya means the compassion. But jive, doya, what does that compassion is? Compassion, humility by sharing spiritual knowledge with other and accepting yourself spiritual knowledge. Because, when somebody was asked by Srila Sridhar Maharaj, well, there's a war, there's innocent children dying in the war. And Sridhar Maharaj said, there's no innocent people in this world. If somebody is a child and he's dying in this life, maybe previous life he was a Hitler. There's no one is innocent in the world of matter, where everybody is sent to prison and everyone has to go through transformation. So according to previous acharyas, Supreme Lord create this world for the souls to display their inner svabhava, inner nature. And there are three types of souls. There are very high level souls, obviously, who are naturally inclined towards service of the Lord. And, we can also call them liberated souls when they get liberated. The second type of souls like us, we're like in between. If we get bad association, we degrade. If we get good association, we go up. So we kind of, like waivers. Whatever the wind go, we'll go. Because we don't have substantial faith and heart qualities. And third type of living entities are demons. So as you see, demons are become more powerful right now in this very time. Like this is the time of demons. And you can say, well, demons always had power, but they're not always showing the power. It's not all the time the power. So in Bhagavad, the demigods been attacked by demons and they're coming to their guru, Shukracharya, and I'm sorry, Brihaspati, and they ask him questions. So, we're the gods, but we don't have power right now. And the demons have so much power, they will take over our world. What to do? Well, the guru said, well, here's I explain you why. The reason is you guys too much enjoy and relax. And demons, they had hard work and they worship their gurus. They follow their sadhana. They follow their practices very strictly. And by that, they achieve the power. So as you see, even Hiranyakashipu or all other great demons, how did they achieve power? By blessings of Brahma, the blessings of Shiva, by, follow the guru. So the principle is the same, but the reason is different. So, and he said, well, at this point, what I believe is you guys have to just hide and go to austerity, go to spiritual practice. And when demons will claim high position, they will degrade because they will relax, they will enjoy just like you, like gods. And when you will be in, caves and doing sadhana and chanting and dancing and doing spiritual practice, then the power will come back to you. And then you will be able to reclaim your position. So I spoke yesterday with Rohini Shakti. She's yogini. And I said, she's like a psychic. She's like mystic. And I said, what do you feel about world right now? And she just said very common thing, same as I feel. She said, demons have too much power. Doesn't mean that demons are not there. It's just the balance. So that's why Krishna created this world. And he said, I equal to gods and to demons, because if you give left or right too much power, there will not be balance. And so a lot of religious, like, Jehovah's Witnesses or other spiritual group, they claim we want to make a world as a heaven. It's not going to happen. Heaven is upper. Even in heaven, there's some problems. Then some other demons like Hiranyakashipu, who took over hell, what he did, he liberated all inhabitants of hell. Just imagine, like he's like a revolutionary person. He came to hell and released everybody from hell. And somebody can say, well, you see, God cannot release everybody from hell, but demon can release everybody from hell. So he's better than God because he's done something greater than God. But actually, even if you relieve everybody, all the prisoners today from material world, there'll still be a world filled with souls. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu been coming to Jharkhand forest and chanting holy name, Haridas Thakur was observing him and said, it appeared to be as you coming through the forest of Jharkhand, and the trees, animals are dancing and chanting kirtan. And by doing that, you're liberating every living being that is here in this creation. Then Mahaprabhu smiled and he said, well, you're devotee. It's hard to hide the spiritual power from devotees. Just material people, they can't understand the power of holy name. They can't understand the power of Krishna consciousness. They think, it's not really working. It's not really working right now. Well, we'll talk about that too. But Haridas Thakur said, well, yeah, I've seen you doing this. And Mahaprabhu just replied to him, tell me why then this material world is full of living entities. It sounds like I'm liberating them all. And Haridas Thakur said, well, this body has so many living entities can take over. Like, think of one question, how many germs, bacteria, and cells living in your physical body? Like the man potential to be father of billion souls. You can be father of billion children. You maybe only nourish one child. So many souls, so many atmas live in your body. So we're not just shelter for our own soul. We're shelter for numerous billions of souls. But in the conscious evolution, we've been given an opportunity to using this body for self-realization. Others not. Like your parasites, your germs, your other bacteria, your bifidobacteria in your stomach, they're not, I mean, although they may take prasadam and hear holy name, which give them impact and evolution, but they don't have conscious choice like us. So what we do have is conscious choice. So jive doya means to use your conscious choice of being human being to be engaged in something which is not only self-liberated, is also liberated others. Because if you blew this chance, who you become? Okay, you become a king of clowns, or you become, the best of mothers, or you become, a scientist. Who you are. I am scientist, so I'm this, I'm that. But that is not your internal nature. That's your external nature. It's like your gameplay. Jivido and Namaruchi, like what we understand, the holy name liberates every living being except ourselves. And Vaishnava seva, without Vaishnavas, there's no holy name. Mahaprabhu said to his wife before he took sannyas, there's also only Vishnu and Vaishnavas. Means, I'm not talking about Vaishnavas like us. We're actually candidates, like Vaishnava Bas, shadow of samurai. We're not heroes yet. We're not there. But we are preparing. We praying to be accepted. And to be accepted, it's a huge responsibility, a huge position from us. And in many ways, we can say, well, we're not so qualified. We still have so many material desires. We have so many illusions. But remember, the Vaishnavas are very merciful, and they know we're fallen souls. So the reason we hear not because we're so qualified to hear Vedic knowledge, it's hidden knowledge. In other times, you don't even get, connection with that. Like Ramachandra, he was walking and saw Shudra been doing yoga, and he cut his head off. Ramachandra. They say, why? Sounds like a yoga, very popular practice. No, but that was not the yoga people doing now. Means that Shudra were exploring mystical secret knowledge. And one who's Shudra is not because he's just a worker. No, the Shudra is conscious definition. And as you know, Shudra being attached to sense gratification and unresponsible. Shudra means actually unresponsible. He has no responsibility. Like, it's so funny, we live in democracy where Shudras, unresponsible people, supposed to take responsibility of the power. Like, oh, you have to make a vote, you have to make a choice. Of course, Shudra can't make any choice. So that's why democracy is just a scam for stupid people. Because according to even Roman democracy, the only landowners, they could vote. I mean, the people who had higher level of understanding, if you can't rule your own land, how can you rule the world? So if you can rule your own land and you have some responsible understanding what power is, so what it basically means is we're living in a world where most people are Shudra-like mentality. They don't understand their spiritual nature, and they're not responsible for that, because you have to be responsible for your spiritual nature. One of our responsibilities is preaching. I sound very it sounds maybe religious fanatism or racism, whatever you can call it. It sounds, what I say sounds pretty like aggressive, but that's reality is. In other words, if you don't understand that you're spiritual soul, if you're not serving Supreme Lord, then what is your position? You don't have any position. Like, position has to be connect with reality. So, and again, preaching means to converting misconception into conception. So these are three things: Jividoya, Namaruchi, Vaishnava Sevam. The worship of Vaishnavas is the important stage of salvation. If you look at Srimad Bhagavat or Chaitanya Charitamrita, everybody being saved and liberated by the mercy of Vaishnavas. Whether the hunter who killed the animals by Narada or Valmiki or any other person, it is beginning from getting mercy of a great soul. So that's why in our mission, we put Gurudev Guru Maharaj on the altar, because the other great souls, of course, we're not denying that. We're not trying to make a model. There's only Jesus Christ and no one else. No, what we're trying to say, there are the great souls, and if we worship them, read their book, follow their instructions, then we get their mercy. And as us devotees, we understand, we reciprocate their mercy. So when somebody tell me, "Oh, Avadhut Maharaj, how much you know so much?" My natural answer would be, I know nothing. It's true. But I got mercy of my Guru. That much I know. That by mercy of my Guru, I'm here today. And by mercy of my Guru, I've seen Krishna given this chance for you to listen. Next question.
Dhanavad, Jai Gurudev, Jai Guru Parampara. Sorry, I'm like so overwhelmed right now. I'm just landed in South Carolina. I do not have Jayadeva's support. I mean, I do energetically, but he's in Santa Barbara, California. And I am visiting my family at a wedding. I usually boycott family weddings and family gatherings because I'm like really Hare Krishna. But today is my grandmother's 103rd birthday. So I couldn't really boycott this one. I didn't really have a real reason. So I just want to know, like, what can I do? I want to, like, I feel a lot better about my life and like the direction where I'm going since I took shelter of Srila Govinda Maharaj. Like, I feel better. Overall, like, I feel okay to spend time with my family, but usually I like just avoid them and just go to like try to chant my rounds because my sadhana turns to shit. My mentality, like, I'll probably drink some alcohol. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, I just like, I'm feeling overwhelmed. So I went and rented a car and I'm over just parking, waiting to like for the Zoom to be over to go like back to the family. But anyway, so I just want to hear, like, Maharaj, what do you do? I know your dad's like, isn't he your disciple or something? Like, how do you get like naturally, authentically get your like be okay with like karmis and people who aren't really interested in Krishna consciousness, or maybe they are, and I'm just like a fanatic and I don't know how to reach them, like how do I harmonize with my environment and like live the message of the teachers when I'm really triggered in an uncomfortable, not in my comfort zone environment?
Okay. Very good question. Very sincere. Thank you, Chintamani. I think you are, first of all, your fortunate soul is no matter how crazy we are, and no matter how many mistakes we make in our life, if we make one proper choice that will lead us to the chain reaction of other choices, that's our fortune. Rupe Brahmanya Brahmate Kon, Bhagyavan Jive, Guru Krishna Prashade Bhai, Bhakti Ladibish, Bhagyavan, Bhagya, fortunate soul. So you are a fortunate soul like all of us. And why? Guru Krishna Prashade Bhai, Bhakti Ladibish, because through your sincere connection with Guru, you establish some connection with holy name. And in the very beginning stage, as all we are, where holy name is not fully revealed itself to us yet. And why is that so? Because Krishna will test us and he will give us the chance to develop our faith. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur very clearly explained, before you have a faith, just like I've said, you need mercy of devotee. And then developing of holy name, and then more faith, which means no matter which stage of Krishna consciousness you are, you need to constantly satisfy devotees and go deeper and deeper and deeper to a spiritual life to understand and appreciate deeper and deeper and deeper. Now, of course, in traditional Vaishnava culture, like Vairagya Vaishnavas, they would more or less resign from social activities. Why would they resign from social activities? Because there's different mood. There's different bhav. Like there's different perception of enjoyment. Like when we coming together, we take prasadam, we chant Hare Krishna. So we have pretty much social activity. So when you visit us, we're laughing, joking, we're having fun, but it's all around Krishna. So when you come into mundane family gathering, you see the people not trying to get around Krishna, they're trying to get around family, which is not a bad thing if they see you not as insane, crazy hippie, or rather they see, oh, she looks good, she's doing her spiritual practice. So if you're not going crazy in front of your relatives, not neglecting them, or like they're talking to you and you take the beads from the pocket and start chanting in front of them, like, they think, well, this girl's too much. So remember, love and affection, that's what looking people. So if you can give your relatives love and affection, and you can offer some fruit and give them some prasadam, like, hey, would you like some fruit? It's blessed food, something like that. So if you don't just fanatically go crazy deep into the debate about Jesus or Krishna, that will make you stay with purpose, which you are as a representative of Srila Govinda Maharaj, are coming to association of your relatives, especially your grandma, and giving her some hug, telling her Krishna loves you, maybe sharing a little prasadam, being nice, then you're acting like Govinda Maharaj's deputy. So consider as your visiting family is like, maybe some of your family members say, hey, I want to talk to you. What's up in India? What was in India? You don't have to tell them, I was like, oh, we went with Vishaka. You can say, well, I was just traveling in India. It was so amazing. Oh, India, what did you do there? So you can be non-fanatical and sweet and kind. And all you need to make is to create an impression, because that's what people are, when they meet other people, they got the vibe and impression. They said, well, this guy's, he's a believer, but he's a fanatic. Or, oh, this person very nice, she's got her Krishna thing going, but she's in India, she's with some kind of a guru, like, oh, what is that? What is that like? So there's an opportunity. So preaching is exploring opportunities, just like business in life. You're supposedly a salesman, you're going door to door and you're selling insurance or solar panels or whatever you sell. It used to be in America, a very famous film called Salesman, which has a product and go door to door with a hope, he'll make a sale. Nowadays, you have artificial intellect and marketing and advertising, but in those days, the only way you can sell it or not by heading towards going knock door to door and bring the product and try to sell it. And there used to be people who would do this all their life. And in Russia, sometimes in office buildings, like the sign would be like, something like Herbalife not allowed, means the people who sells baths and cosmetics, they're not allowed. Like, don't knock on I don't let the salesman in the door, because at this point, many of the people who lost their job, they joined these big Western companies and they told them, just go door to door and sell your product. And you know what? A lot of them succeed in two ways. Number one, they believe in product. Number two, that time was not distribution chain and there was not so much information. So Krishna consciousness is like this. It's the best product you can sell, but you need to know who and how you will market it and under which condition. Because if you're just trying to sell something to me, people will, especially now, they're not going to like it that you're trying to push me something. But if you say, hey, ladies, I have the best cosmetics, I'm using it. Look at my face, shining face. It's, oh, Yeah, you're shining. You look very nice, better than before. What is that you're using? I like that. So you need to adapt a strategy for your preaching, which means you're not trying to push your ideas. You're rather trying to say, look at me, how happy I am, how wonderful I am, how unique my life is. I have wonderful friends. I travel. We get together, we chant. My friend, doing very well. He's a very smart, that's what society is expecting you to do. There's society expecting you a particular position, wellness and happiness, and then they say, okay, this person is good to relate, and see how it goes. Anyway, I love you. I think you're very good, transcendental, divine, crazy, just like me. And being crazy is no problem. Crazy for Krishna is good. But try to be more tactical with your tactics of preaching and giving honor. Remember, giving honor to others, respect others. This is very important. So if you came to family gathering for some time, give your relatives respect and honor, and they will appreciate that. Next.
Maharaj, we have a question from Nanda Gihini. She asking how I can overcome laziness, even if I doing seva, which I like, sometimes laziness coming to me. How I can overcome this?
Yeah, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has a book called Madhurya Kadambini. That book is about obstacles of spiritual life. And laziness is one of them. Because, if I just sit down and do nothing, I can pass like an hour or two and do nothing. And when it comes to little service like chanting or doing arati, or I'm lazy, I have no power. For something mundane, I have so much power, so much desire. For something spiritual, when it comes to something spiritual, I'll do it tomorrow. That is very natural symptom of our heart disease. Remember, we're in disease stage, and our disease called hridrogam, the heart disease. And the condition of our heart disease, just like the chronic disease is something that you're already suffering for a long time. And sometimes you get pain and sometimes less pain. So when you have less pain, you can say, I feel better today. Why? Less pain. You're not totally cured. You just have less suffering. And that's already for chronic patient become a great condition, less pain. Or, nighttime or some other time, go deep pain. Then you have to take the medicine, painkillers, etc. So consider we are chronic patients. And our disease is called hridrogam, the disease of the heart, disease of the soul. And outcome of this disease is physical body. Just like a cancer. Cancer is something growing in your body, which is not really part of you. We have physical body, which is not really part of us, but it's like a cancer and consciousness. Think of this. We're the conscious beings, we're immortal, we're eternal. But one way or another way, we got conditioned by this body. And body is something been catching us. Well, at one point, body is a wonderful instrument to get out of the body. But from another point, we're conditioned by that body. Time, place, circumstance, karma. None of it exists once you get out of body. I mean, we're talking about being liberated. We're not talking about going to the next body, follow next, scenario of karma, which we're already developed or developing. So holy name of Krishna is burning this scenario. It's like, when Jagai and Madai, who were the worst possible sinners at that time in Navadvip, whatever the scripture would tell, don't do this, they'll do that. They would specifically commit sin based on scripture. Scripture said, don't kill cow. They would say, well, that's a wonderful idea, let's go kill the cow. So that's how sinful they were. So when Yamaraj heard about Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Supreme Lord, appear in Navadvip, Yamaraj was astonished. And Yamaraj, from his Yamapuri, decides to go and visit for several reasons. One of the reasons to see Yamaraj is a great devotee. But another thing was like, if he's coming to liberate the whole world, what's going to happen with my department? Like the sinners will come to my department. Should I, what should I do with hell? Like how will we develop the hell? So he had many questions, internal questions, but number one, just like Praha Vimoha Lila, Indra Vimoha Lila, sometimes gods, even gods, it's very difficult for them, as we say, seeing, believe it. So he decided to come and see who Mahaprabhu pastimes. And of course, he hid through the mystic power. And he entered about the same moment when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought all the devotees to Sankirtan, glorification of holy names. And at that very moment, he witnessed how Jagai Madai was saved. And of course, he's got the record. He's like attorney of the record. So when he came back, he asked his assistant, Chitragupta, who's in charge of all the records, can you bring me the records for the sinners, Jagai Madai? And Chitragupta said, well, according to our computer, we don't have any more space for those guys. They're so sinful that we stopped doing a record. When you're like massive murderer, it doesn't really matter whether you kill 5,000 people or 5,010 people. You're like massive murderer. So he said, these two sinfuls are so sinful that in our paradigm, we said, just stop recording these records. Just this guy's meant for eternal hell. So you don't need to record more. We know who these people are. So don't waste your time and paper. Then Yamaraj said, well, Chitragupta, here's the news for you. These guys are no longer in our custody. Shri Gaura Hari, who is Lord Krishna, who descends to this world, just liberate all these two, and he's willing to liberate other living entities. So presumably you're not going to have a big job and sooner. You're not going to, don't expect too many souls in our office. Anyway, Yamapuri is the low planetary system, so there are different type of sinners. It's like a system of prisons. We know about our plane, and we know that Yamaraj, when he told us, he was entering divine stage of bhav, the divine feeling of mercy of Lord, and he was crying and dancing. Not only he came back to hell totally confused, he brought the feeling of Krishna consciousness into the hell. And that's amazing. So he's crying and experiencing Mahaprabhu, and Chitragupta and other people say, what happened to our boss? We never see tears of our boss. Our boss is very, he's ruling with the justice. You cannot escape from his justice, but look at him right now. He's talking about two worst sinners and he's crying. He's chanting names of Gaura Hari, and hair stood up on his head, and he's feeling so much compassion and love. What happened to him? Should he retire? He's like, what's going on here? So that was the story. It was a very beautiful story, very sweet story, very nourishing story for us. And this story has a lot of hope. So hope dies last. We live by hope. And the hope that one day the gleams of holy name will come to our hearts. And one day, like Yamaraj, like a great vaishnavas, or Jagai Madai, who are great sinners. Actually, we're probably greater than them. We've been sinning for so many lives. But Mahaprabhu is coming to liberate all the fallen souls, but this is not cheap. Don't take it cheap. Don't tell, hey, you know what, Mahaprabhu coming is going to liberate me anyway, so what do I have to care about? It doesn't work this way. Okay, next. I'm sorry, sometimes I speak directly towards the answer of question, but sometimes I give indirect answer. Sometimes indirect answer better.
Есть 10 оскорблений святого имени и 10 оскорблений святой Дхаммы. И недавно, слушая лекцию Хришкеш Махараджа, я понял, что невольно совершаю как бы оскорбления, те или другие. И хотел узнать вообще, как быть с ними, как с этим жить, в общем.
Okay, it's a very good question. So he's asking 10 offenses of holy name and 10 offenses of holy Dham. Dhamma aparat, Hinama aparat, seva aparat. There's so many aparat. That's why we don't get the full benefit of our spiritual practice. However, you have to ask question, why are you in holy Dham? What is the purpose of you being in holy Dham? If you will discover the true purpose of holy Dham, the one thing you understand, I have to be in holy Dham to serve the Dham, not to take advantage of the Dham. So that means to serving the Dham, what do I do? Well, there's particular behavior in Dham. It's like when you come into a museum, they tell you like, there's a behavior in museum or theater. It's a cultural place. You have to behave properly. Okay, I understand. So the behavior is one thing, but another thing is, what is the purpose? Like, I always try to create a purpose for me to be in holy Dham. Whether I'm trying to be with Gurudev or I'm going to holy Dham to parikrama. My idea just to casually live in holy Dham without doing nothing, it's an offense. So like I'm trying to create projects for holy Dham. Let's say Gornitai art. We create so much art. We want to take walls of buildings of Navadvip, which sometimes they use for advertising, and we're trying to paint pastimes of Mahaprabhu. So as you understand, there is a particular service that we're trying to find in holy Dham. And if we have some service responsibility, that is very good. Because coming to glorify holy Dham is a service, coming to parikrama is a service. But if you stay longer than service time, then you have to find justification why you're there. Okay, my guru sent me to do some service, or I'm sweeping the holy Dham, or I'm doing something. You can't just be in holy Dham and do nothing. With humility, you have to serve Mahaprabhu, follow the principles, chant holy name, read the book. That will be mood of service. You can't just be in holy Dham in mood of enjoyment or mood of exploitation. So that is the cause of our offenses. Is a self-ego, self-centered mood, not mood of service, not mood of give and sacrifice. It's mood of to take and enjoy. Anyway, I may not be very perfect follower of Krishna consciousness, but I'm very happy that some devotees right now stay in Vrindavan, Govardhan, and they do wonderful service there. That is justification for them to stay. And remember, holy Dham is a different way, especially Navadvip. So I was talking to GPT chat GPT, and I said to GPT chat, okay, make my Vedic horoscope. And he made my Vedic horoscope. I said, just for fun, I said, tell me what is the best place for me to be. And he said, India, Mayapur. It was so amazing. And I say, why? Because there's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Even GPT chat, artificial intellect, told me that the best place for you is Mayapur, the birth of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And I said, And what is my worshipable deity? Is that Krishna? I mean, GPT chat is pretty good, can do like Vedic astrology and I mean general stuff, not of course not his experiences, some great astrologers, but you can ask him and you see, even in your stars, you can find you are not just a devotee from first time. You might be have interest since your birth with Krishna consciousness. Most devotees like that. When that conscious moment will awake within you, it's hard to say. It could be, from childhood, or it could be later life. And one thing that you should know, that if you've got this opportunity in this world, try to use it wisely. Like right now you're staying in Holy Dham. Then you will say, well, it sounds like I do too much offenses in Holy Dham. Let me go to Goa, smoke weed and be on the beach. That's not going to make you a perfect person. Like one devotee staying in Goa, he doesn't want to call me. And he doesn't want to call me because he knows if he'll call me, I will ask him, where are you? In India? He said, yeah, I'm in Goa. What are you doing? Oh, smoking weed on the beach. That's not what he wants to answer to me. Therefore, he say, oh, I don't talk to Maharaj because I love Maharaj, but I have nothing to say to him. Well, that's one scenario. The second scenario is you call Maharaj and say, Maharaj, I'm sorry, I got screwed up on the beach of Goa. I took a little rest. Please give me a blessing. When my fortune will come back to me, I'll go to Holy Dham and do some service there. Yeah, that's what I would say. I would say, I hope one day, by the mercy of Holy Dham, by the mercy of Guru and Vaishnavas, I can do service. Like this year, I was really, really nicely punished by Krishna. And punishment is okay. Accepting Krishna's punishment is very merciful. But out of 25 times, or maybe 20 times or whatever, 25 times, I would always be in Guru Purnima in this time of the year. And this is the first time in many years I missed Guru Purnima. And then I realized how much I missed Navadvip. So Navadvip was in my mind. Even sometimes I'm speaking with Gopal, I'm thinking about Navadvip. That means, yes, maybe one day you'll miss Holy Dham, but the Holy Dham will not miss you. It will stay in your heart. So try to develop your inner mood of consciousness and through mood of service and sacrifice. And I know you're a very good person. You have very good servant nature. When you came to Vrindavan, you clean ashram, you did so much work there. You did wonderful service. And you got special blessing to visit Navadvip. And I told you, Navadvip, I also can find a service with the art or other things, or you can come back to Vrindavan. It doesn't really matter. Matter is, yes, we are not 100% Hare Krishna, maybe 1% Hare Krishna, 1% devotion, 1% spiritual awareness, no problem. Let's build this 1% to 2%, 2% to 3%, etc. Try to go baby steps. Don't try to jump too quick, or don't try to jump out because you're not qualified. You don't have any other choice. Remember, the Queen of Kerala told me, I'm a slave of God. I'm not servant. Means I'm eternally connected with God. Whether I'm a good slave or bad slave, whether I'm a good servant or bad servant, I am the servant. I'm his dog. Like, I don't have any other choice. My other choice outside of reality, the phony choice, illusionary choice, choice of dream, the real choice I don't have. I'm eternally connected with Krishna. I'm jiva. I'm part of Krishna. That's by my will, I fell into material ocean of material suffering. By Krishna so merciful, one day he will remember I'm his servant and pull me out of this horrible material ocean of misconceptions. And I will, be like a piece of dust or tree in his holy place. Think of this, the Shantarasa devotees, they're not just stupid. because they're trees. They have so much humility and love. They're willing to give shadow and fruits to, they're just willing to be environment of Vrindavan. They're not trying to dance with Krishna. They're just thinking, okay, here's my mood. I'm staying here. Maybe one day, after billions of years, Krishna will pass by. They know Krishna is somewhere nearby. But they think, maybe one day, and maybe one day devotee will pass and pick my fruit or pick my flower and give it to Krishna on my behalf, and I'll be so happy. And just thinking about that make them in bliss. Think of this. Think of Krishna and be blissful. Man mana bhava mad bhakto. So how wonderful Krishna consciousness is, that by thinking about Krishna, you can be with Krishna. But thinking about vodka, you're not going to get vodka. You're not going to get joy. You can think about vodka, but vodka is not going to come. But thinking about Krishna, Krishna can come to your heart. If you think sincerely, that is the difference. So sometimes we're looking for intoxications to break out our faith and, break our mental pain, because we want to enjoy. We need love. We need enjoyment, but nothing fully fulfill us. But I'm so happy to see you, Bhaktadas. I love you, and you're a wonderful person. I'm so happy that Gurudev gave me in my life such incredible people. Sincere, sweet, and beautiful devotees. It is my fortune, and I'd like to be in association with devotees like this, because they're very kind, they're very forgiving, and they're very merciful. So they're give you chance, and they will always support you and protect you. Last question.
Question is next. Why is life constantly sending us more and more difficulties, even when a person has learned to be with some difficulties? Does fate send new? Are these special lessons or our human stupidity?
I would say stupidity, because remember, we ourselves creators of our troubles, and being stupid, it's one of the definition of conditioned soul. Don't think of somebody, very qualified businessman or very qualified person in this world. He's not necessarily stupid. He may be very unqualified in spiritual culture, or somebody who has understanding of spiritual culture. He may not be very qualified on material level. Like I know one devotee, a very high level devotee, and when I see like how he spend money, what he buy, I understand he doesn't understand value of the money, because he would buy something very expensive, and I'm thinking like, yeah, that's a good thing to have, but that's not what you need in your necessity. Because as this piece of equipment or thing coming out of store, it's losing its value, and some of it like 70% or 80%. And you buy things and you value things according how much you want to use them for service. Like for instance, we can say, well, we need a nice interior in a temple. Yes, we understand, for the guests. But as myself, I wouldn't say, oh, I need very, very nice chair for $1,000. First of all, I don't sit in a chair that long. Second of all, I think, well, that's just too much money for something that, is not, if I'd be like working all day long and I would need like professional chair, I would check it out, probably buy used one. But I wouldn't just waste my money on buying something which is not so useful, which tells me this person might be great spiritually, but as far as economics and, I would say financial management, he doesn't have the experience because he doesn't value what the money is. Because see, the money is not when you have them in the bank. The value of the money is realized when you don't have money. That's why you sing the song, money, 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 da 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 da. Ah-ooh, ah-ooh. So I know what it is, and I know how hard to get money, especially when when you need to refinance business and stuff. And so I told some people, I said, well, when I left to India, there was some money on the bank. When I come back, you guys spend it all. And they said, oh, we spent for this, we spent for that. I said, that is good, guys, but you didn't realize the value. Because it's just like a fuel in your tank. And if you don't have the money, you cannot drive. It doesn't really matter how wonderful your car. You can have the most expensive car, but if you don't have money to fill your tank and drive, then it's useless. Everything your car is useless. It's just a piece of metal. In fact, it devaluates because it can't drive. So that's why the energy is something for us to drive, not to surround ourselves with stupid things which have no meaning for us. So the reason I'm explaining this to you, because you will be never cured from your stupidity in this life. But if you make one proper choice, follow devotees and be Krishna conscious, you can avoid your stupidity. Because if this person would come to me and he would ask me, oh, what do you think, how much money you think I would need to spend for the interior? I would say to him, well, there's a place you can go and you can get everything very cheap. You could probably save about 80% of your budget, which means out of the money you spend, 80% of your funds will be more available for Krishna devotees, or you keep it in the bank in case you need to travel and preach, etc. But because you are overspending your resources without thinking and without understanding, that's where the trouble starts. So how you do that? You are associated with somebody who have that experience. Like, if you get a good businessman who understands the business very well, he can save you a lot of money by just giving you a few simple advices. So that means mostly our stupidity is outcome of our ego. The ego is the biggest thing. And we know how ego can be crazy. Like, with Pavel, we have one common person we know. He knows him better than I do. But this guy became a king of clowns. But then he didn't feel that necessity, and he became a king of DJs. He wanted to become a king of DJs, which means you always want to be something great, but you never fulfilled. Why you're not so happy? You become very wealthy, very famous, very unique. So now you want to be something else. So, and something else, something else, something else. But you're not really discovered with yourself. See, considering all your riches, all your fame, all your position, all your situation, you didn't go deeper enough to yourself. And that's called stupidity. And you can't say this person's stupid. He's very smart, very talented, very up to ground person, but he doesn't have that fortune. So, when, and you don't know, maybe he will have that fortune this life, maybe not. Maybe it's just a karma play. So don't think everything is carved in stone in life. Things can change. And your stupidity can also go away if you go the proper direction of Krishna, Guru, Vaishnavas. And, Govinda Maharaj used to call stupid people simple-hearted. So Govinda Maharaj never said these people are stupid. He said simple-hearted people. And he liked that. He liked simple-hearted people. Why? I've read this later, after maybe 30, 40 years, I understood. I've read one spiritual book. And there's one great Acharya tells, simplicity is the most important quality of devotee. If person's simple, which means he's not thinking, oh, like let me examine you, give me the proof, like if you're not displaying your ego so much, if you say, okay, tell me what is good, all right, show me how to do it, okay, explain me why, that means simplicity. It means you're not thinking you know everything, don't have a very complicated big ego. So the ego is the enemy and ego is the savior. And don't worry about being stupid. That's, in fact, if you know you're stupid, it's a great knowledge for you. Before you do something important, considering you're stupid, you try to seek, at least go to GPT chat and say, I'm a stupid person, I like to do this, what would I do? And GPT chat will think twice, and they say, give me a step-by-step way how to do that, and GPT chat will give it to you. So if stupid GPT chat, who cannot understand himself, can give you such advice, think of how important association of living vaishnavas, the people that loves you. This is very important. So don't hesitate to be friends of vaishnavas. Don't hesitate to stay with vaishnavas. Don't try to run and show how smart and how great you are. Just consider baby steps and you'll be fine. You don't need to become a genius or a super professional in order to become Krishna conscious. You have to have two things. Number one, big heart. Big heart is willingness to give and serve. And second is the mercy of the Lord, which means mercy of the Guru. If you have two things, big heart, which means, okay, guys, I'm ready to help. What should I do? All right, listen. For now, you listen. Okay, I'm listening. Okay, I'm listening. What should I do? Well, I can tell you service. Okay, you go find yourself service. Go to Malati, go to Makanchur, go to Rasnanda, see what needs to be done. Or tell, okay, guys, you know what? I don't think you have this together. I think I'm an electrician. I can fix the features for the temple. Like start doing something. Start becoming connected with devotees. And I told the secret mantra. Anybody who wants to be connected with devotee, hear what you do. You come to Krishna temple or the program, you stay in a program, and after the program, you go wash dishes. And within 2 weeks, everybody will know who you are, that you're a wonderful person, because you're doing service, you're washing dishes, you're doing something menial, you're not afraid. You're not you're just coming humbly, okay, can I help you? Can I do this? So in 1 week, all devotees will say, oh, this person is very nice, he's coming. Nobody came from guests to help me to clean the garbage, but this person did. So he's a very good person. He's a very humble person, very sweet person. And that's how you develop heart connection with devotees, through your menial service. Don't try to run high service. That time will come for you. Remember Professor Sanyal, who was the greatest Sanskrit scholar, PhD, he would come to Gaudiya Math and sweep. He would, what he would do, he would find the broom and he would sweep. And devotees would come to him and say, well, you're Professor Sanyal, you're famous intellectual, like Prabhupada called Swarup Damodar the scientist. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur also called him professor. He didn't call him by his spiritual name, because his spiritual name is, okay, fine. But when the guests come, they would say, what and so and so, Swamiji. He said, let's ask professor. And they understood this guy is a professor. And when this professor speaks, they would understand he's number one professor. He's like guru of the gurus, like Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And that Professor Sanyal had so much philosophical black belt and so much understanding, appreciation of Krishna consciousness. He would come to Gaudiya Math and sweep. And they would ask him, why you do that? And he would say, you don't understand, sweeping floor, dust of Vaishnavas is the highest possible service to be connected with dust in the temple of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I'm a professor outside in university and PhD. Here, I'm just a fool. I'm conditioned soul. I came here to purify myself. And the best way to purify myself is the dust feet from devotees. So considering I'm sweeping the dust feet of devotees, This is the highest medicine for me. And he was right. That's why out of so many professors, he was the famous one, Professor Sanyal. And he wrote a book, Philosophy of Sri Krishna Chaitanya. He easily actually take Mahaprabhu teachings, and he wrote incredible book, which we're not even qualified to read it, but it's a great philosophical book by genius professor Sanyal. Some of the Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur articles in Harmonist have been written by him, because he heard the lecture, he transcribed and put it together and showed to Saraswati Thakur, and Saraswati Thakur said, yeah, that's a good lecture, but it's not complete. And Sanyal said, okay, let me complete, which he would understand what that need to be added to make it complete. So Guru Maharaj said, yeah, we know some of Saraswati Thakur lectures, not really Saraswati Thakur. It's Sanyal lectures based on Saraswati Thakur's idea, but he would make it he would put in nice philosophical English with, with like connecting threads. It's such a wonderful service you've done. Anyway, guys, I've got 5% of my battery and 3 minutes of my time, because I have an appointment, which I cannot miss this appointment, but I will miss you all. I love every one of you. I mean, with my sincere heart that you are participating in this program. I like to see faces of my friends and wonderful devotees who's here. I'm not a very perfect English speaker. My English is not ideal, I would say, low quality English, but you have enough kindness to hear me in English, and also Russian devotees whose English second language, but they still participate out of their mercy and compassion and sweetness. So we have interesting people in our community, and I told them, you should try to preach in your own way. Like when you're dealing with students, you can figure out, okay, history of drama, and you can base on history of drama, you can do a little bit of Krishna consciousness. So you can figure out a way how to relate with people, because see, there's different groups, the groups of artists, the groups of philosophers, the groups of scientists. They all need connection, but they live in a very professional field because they, communicate with a particular knowledge and skills and culture. So Prabhupada had a scientist group and comparative religious groups. He had all these plans to relate with different communities. So we have people from different communities who should take Krishna consciousness to their own field. And of course, they can preach to anyone. It doesn't require you just to, if you're a Christian scholar, it does not mean that you only have to preach to Christians. However, it's an interesting thing how to establish dialogue with Christians, or how to establish dialogue with the artistic community, how to establish dialogue with other groups of people. So my Dandavat Pranam, I'm very happy to see everyone. And it's time for me to run, because I'm really, really on a short run. And I'll try to call from the car. Dandavat, Hare Krishna, happy birthday. Haribol, Dandavat. Okay, see you guys. Dandavat Pranam. Love you all. Thank you.